All right. Hey guys, Ken Stretz, Stretz Tactical. I want to talk about night vision, in particular night vision for law enforcement. So the reason I'm doing this video, a buddy of mine's retired from Army Special Operations, has a training company. I'm purposely not saying his name or his business because I don't want you guys to think that this is like a commercial to push him. Glad to push him, but this is about getting the information out to law enforcement. Why? So when I started reaching out to different agencies, I'm in New York, just outside New York City. I reached out to 6 different agencies that I knew had night vision to see if they wanted to host them for a class. And I found out this: out of the 6, 1 I knew for sure used night vision operationally a few times. I believe they have dual tube nods. They didn't have any IR lasers. They don't have red dots on their pistols, in particular night vision capable red dots, not just red dots, but night vision capable red dots. 1 agency had a single tube like this, a PVS 14, and they have infrared lasers. They've done some live fire training with them. They've also done TCCC training under nods as well. Their training was in-house from a few former military guys they had in their on their SWAT team, and then the rest of them pretty much had the same story. Yeah, we got night vision. I think they're in the case on the 4th floor in headquarters, or another place they're in the basement. Or yeah, I think we have them for the sniper rifles, but we haven't used them. And at one point, one of the agencies kind of laughed about getting IR lasers, and then from what I heard afterwards, after they had that conversation, went out and got them. Haven't heard that they've gotten any training on them yet. I don't know if it's a case of, yeah, we got them, that was a good idea, thank you, let's bolt them on the guns and call it good, instead of seeking out training, or maybe training's coming down the road, hopefully. So this is basically to kind of get the word out that, hey, if you got night vision, that's cool, but if all you have is the night vision, you're only halfway there. And if it's the night vision's brand new in the box, sitting on the 4th floor in your headquarters or in the basement, you're maybe a quarter of the 3rd way there. What do I mean? What happens when you're out there in the woods searching for a threat, or however you're employing these, and a threat pops up? How are you going to engage that threat? All right. So I got some gear here besides the PVS 14 to illustrate that point. So right here we have an infrared laser. Basically, and we'll shoot this live here in a little bit, but all you have to do when you have night vision on, you can't, if you have dual tube nods, it's kind of hard to get a normal cheek weld. You can just bring it up to your shoulder, you activate your laser, and you'll see the infrared laser down range, and you can engage a threat accurately and in complete darkness. If you have a pistol and you're not running a rifle, and you have a red dot that's capable of a night vision setting, like this Trijicon RMR, you just punch that out under your night vision, and your night vision will pick that up. So you combine the night vision of being able to see in the dark with the technology of a red dot with a night vision setting, or an infrared laser on your rifle, and that brings your capabilities way up there. Now, I am no night vision expert by any means, and this isn't meant to be a night vision training video or anything. My background, I had a commo support MOS in 11 Special Forces. Unit got disbanded, went into military police. My training and experience in the Army was more of a familiarization with night vision. Back then with the PVS 7Bs. So I just had to turn them on, how to walk around with them, how to drive vehicles. And when we were down in Panama at Fort Sherman, messing around a little bit in the jungle with them. I got more training and better training with night vision outside the military. I did a class, I think it was L3 to put it on, how to zero them and shooting them from static position out to like 300 yards. It was like a 3 or 4 hour block of training. Good training, but kind of better than when I got in the military. Past that, I did a 1-day basic and a 1-day advanced night vision operator course with a former special operations guy. And that was awesome. We zeroed, we shot everything out to 250 yards, something like that. We did buddy team jungle runs, shooting and moving, driving vehicles, walking in the woods, transitions to pistol, all sorts of stuff. So that's my training and experience with it. You have guys out there from the special operations community that have, you know, parachuted, you know, patrolled in the woods with them, you know, done care under fire, done live fire CQB, and you know, stacked up bodies under night vision. Those are the guys you want to take a class from. Those are the guys that before you go out and you spend your agency's money, or if it's a personally owned weapon and you're authorized to buy the stuff on your own money, talk to guys like that. Not just a rep from a company. I'm sure they're knowledgeable and everything, but you know, you want someone who's used these things for real in the defense of their own life, their team, their country, etc. So that's the kind of the spiel behind this whole thing and why I'm doing it. So again, equipment we're going to be using, got a rifle with an aim point that has night vision settings on it, a laser that has an infrared setting, PVS 14, again this is a monocular, so it's one tube. They also have dual tubes, so if you hear me say dual tubes, that basically means two of these, not literally two of these, but two of them put together like binoculars. And they also have what they call panavision, or some people call it quad tubes. It's basically two tubes in front of each eye, gives you a better field of view, better depth perception. Same thing with the dual tubes. You get better depth perception having one tube in front of each eye, and a little bit less eye fatigue than if you use one tube. And then I have a Glock with an RMR with a night vision setting on, all right? So that's just a quick spiel about that. So now I'm going to gear up with, you know, hooking the night vision up to a helmet, which is another thing, right? You can either run it on a helmet. It could be your ballistic SWAT helmet, military helmet, whatever, or a bump helmet like this. Bump meaning just to kind of protect your noggin. If you bumped it, it doesn't have any ballistic protection. And they also have the skull crushers, just that, you know, nylon strap that you can tighten down on your head. And then Cryo Precision makes something called, I think, a nightcap. It's kind of similar to the camouflage cover that goes on military helmets, but it has the attachment for the nods on the front of it. You can kind of fold it up and put it in a pocket or whatever. I think it also has a spot in the back for counterweights and backup batteries, all right? So I'll have that on. And then there's some other flashlights here that are IR flashlights as well. What we got here is a demonstration of why, if you're going to use a pistol, you need a red dot on your pistol, or a laser, infrared laser, or a red dot with a night vision setting. So right now we're at, I don't know, 4 or 5 yards from the target. The night vision is focused on the target, right? So I'm going to bring up a pistol, try to do this and get it in front of the camera. I'm going to bring the pistol up in front of the night vision. This is not on my head right now, so trying to line everything up. So yeah, we got the pistol with night sights on it, and you can see it's one big blur. So now if I'm gonna have my cameraman try to focus in on my front sight. It's kind of hard to do a mountain with one camera, but all right. So now you can kind of see it's picking up the rear sight and the front sight, but now the target is super blurry, right? To the point where you couldn't identify it. I know everything's not in perfect focus right now. Kind of the top of the slide is, but not so much the front sight or the rear. And you can kind of see how, this is a 2-dot night sight system. You can see how kind of crazy it gets, right? So trying to focus like you would focus your eyes, right? Focus on the front sight, rear sight, blurry, target blurry, is kind of impossible to do. All right, guys, so now, if you look, we're still focused in on the target. Now I'm gonna bring the Glock with the RMR on the night vision setting up, and you can see, now this is hard to do and keep everything good, but because we have basically a tripod, iPhone, and then the PVS 14, but now you can see, you bring the red dot up, and boom, you can line the red dot up under night vision. And if you saw how dark it is right in here right now, the only thing that's on is an exit light in red behind us, and it's pretty dim. But you can see the red dot, you can see your target, and it takes a little bit of getting used to doing this, but way better than trying to line up those sights, all right? So there's an option. Obviously, if we had a laser on the pistol, we can do that as well. All right guys, now we got an M4 with an infrared laser on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate the laser. Oh, you can see I was off target here. We're not shooting just because it became an issue with not being able to mount the PVS 14 on my head and record and everything, but you can see, and I'll just move it around some more for you. You can see the laser. So right now you could fire from your shoulder, and we'll show some of this when we get back off the nods, but just want to show you guys what the infrared laser looks like. So laser's off and it's just got a pressure pad. I see the threat, hit the laser, bring the weapon up, boom, it's right there. Just bring it up, boom. Bring it up, boom. Just like that. And I'm standing just to the left of the camera and a little bit behind it, and it's really easy to point. All right guys, so again, it's kind of hard to film with just one night vision device and an iPhone and an adapter for it. So we gave you kind of the point of view from the shooter's perspective by mounting it on a tripod. So I threw this on so you can see it real quick. If you have a red dot on your pistol, with a night vision setting, you just bring it up and the night vision will allow you to pick up the infrared dot. You could be in, pretty much complete darkness. You might have to have a flood, IR flood or something, depending on how dark you are, but you can pick it up in the dark. If you have dual tubes, even more the reason. With a single tube, some people will say just, hey, come up, turn your white light on, and just engage with your normal sights. If you don't have a red dot, you can do that. If you have dual tubes or panel vision, the quad tubes, you can, and you don't have a red dot, you can lift your head up and shoot underneath, looking underneath the tubes and picking up your sights and engaging that way. Or if your red dot wasn't night vision compatible, you can do that as well. All right, so there's one option for that. And then what we were talking about with the rifle, right here is a push activation button. So as you're holding it on, it's on. When you let go of it, it's off. You bring your gun up, you got your thumb on the activation button, you just activate it as you come up. You don't have to get a full cheek weld, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to do that, especially if you have dual tubes, but you fire it just from your shoulder, and it's really easy. You hit the button, you come up, and you'll see it. One of the things real quick on the lasers, there's civilian lasers and military or law enforcement lasers. The military ones aren't eye safe. The civilian ones are. So the ones the general populace can get, or individual officers, are eye safe. Anything that's not eye safe, government agencies, the way I understand it, again, I am no night vision expert, so just be careful when you're messing with these. And Oakley does make lenses that are IR, they'll protect you from IR lasers, designed for the military or whatever. So if you're running an IR laser, probably not a bad idea to pick up a pair of the Oakleys with the IR. They're clear, or they got a tint to them, but it's like an amber tint or something to protect your eyes. So again, don't be splashing these in people's eyes. You can cause damage. So another thing you can do too is if you have a night vision setting on your red dot and you don't have a laser, you could bring it up and try to line everything up. It's kind of difficult unless you're doing it all the time, but that's another option if you didn't have a laser and you have nods on a rifle. But if you got nods and you can afford nods, or your agency can afford nods meaning night observation device, just another fancy term for night vision, get yourself some lasers. All right? I'm sure there's probably grants out there or whatever. Do your research, and then get good training, and look at the resume of the person who's doing the training for you, and see what kind of time they've had behind nods, what kind of training, what kind of operational experience, so they can better assist you in training and equipping your guys. All right, guys, if you have any other questions, place you're looking for training or whatever, shoot me a DM, and I'll pass you along to someone who can get you squared away. Again, I don't want this to turn into a commercial, but more of an information session for law enforcement, at least in my area, that I know have night vision, but maybe don't have IR devices or don't have night vision capable red dots on their pistols.